the happy birthday song that you learned on the cello a little later. What I want you to tell me, first of all, Mandy, is that these YouTube channel, there's so many videos lying there. What have you actually seen? And what have you enjoyed out of them? What are the suggestions, criticism? So please.
First good notes and then criticism, you say?
Yes.
Why not? Why don't we do the opposite?
Oh my God, no, no. We start with a good note. It's always good to start with a good note. So happy note, positive note.
Okay. Yeah. It's all positive. Because this is the intention. So the positive feeling I have is that I'm part of a very kind family, the Mediators family, and you're a very kind mentor in this family for me. You give me courage, you give me vision, and you help me believe and have faith in what I feel is the right thing to do. Though it seems romantic, and for some people, romantic things are kind of fantasy and very sensitive things that can't be true. But this passion you have with this vision is very empowering because I share it. And I feel very calm that I'm in my way, which is where I'm not walking alone. And that's very nice. And I feel I have this feeling in all the conversations we have, the meetings with other people, and all this huge family all over the world, and all these friends, which is so nice, this friendship, this love we share. That's so nice.
That's really nice. Look, that's the thing. This is when you start with these such nice words. When you start with such nice words, it's so nice. But so it's nice to hear all these things. But Amanda, your signal was a little bit of a problem right now. So I hope it's not when you play the cello. I hope that doesn't. The signal stays all right.
Yeah. I can move. I can move.
Yeah, where you were earlier in the last session, I think that was a nice play. Everything was quite all right. But Mandy, in terms of the videos, there's so many videos on the channel. Have you managed to see some?
Managed to see some, but I think it's very important, and I would be very happy to help you making some resumes. So people who are looking for something specific or who want to, to watch a full video is time, and people don't have time. So most of them have listened me. I find time to listen to them while I'm doing something else or I'm driving, because it's or when I lay down to sleep. I do hypnotherapy. I believe maybe we could make with some calming music and put the videos for sleep therapy. It's not very easy to find time. It's very important that there is so much work there, but it is not easy for somebody to see all these things. So maybe it's not a criticism, it's a proposal to find a way to make it easier for people to see or listen to all these beautiful things.
Which is what, Mandy, actually, which is what this is the message, like you heard, that this is what I'm putting out. Just tell me what parts you liked, and I'll do the editing and create those clips. I can do that. That's a good suggestion, which needs to be done. So you have to help me, like you said. So that'll be good.
Yeah, it is nice because, you know, sometimes when we feel we have a job to do, we find and we give priority and we find time. So it will be nice for me and for anybody who wants to listen to them and offer to the circle some kind of service and help. Yeah.
Good. And now the criticism.
There is no criticism. I love very much all this authentic and easygoing, and this way you organize all these things without too much organization, too much management, too much. It's authentic and it's very convincing because it is authentic. And this proves what you say, that it is a mindset, it is a feeling, it is love from the heart. So this is enough. And this is one of the things that brings calm to people who have conversations with you, and trust and faith, because all we have to do is just to be authentic, as you say. And this is very nice. This is very nice.
That's exactly what the whole idea was. I'm telling you, like I kept told you, and what Michael Lang said, that this is your living room. I've always considered that it's the fact that it is going out on YouTube live. I'm telling you, I've gone beyond that. I don't even know it's out there. Just the fact that it's people coming in and having those conversations, not create a structure around it and make it into some kind of an institutionalized thing. So I think I've really enjoyed that. I mean, that's really been really nice, and it's good that you appreciate it. I mean, if
yes, I do, and I remember the first symposium I participated. It was about philosophy, and I had made PowerPoint, and I don't know what. And at the beginning, I was feeling a little stressed and all these things. And while I was having this conversation with you, I realized that it is much easier and simple. And the second time I participated in the symposium about neutrality, I didn't prepare a PowerPoint. Remember, I took out some Libras and some things, and it was so happy. I was feeling very happy and free to be myself and say whatever I think and feel, and it was so much fun, and I think it was much better also than the first one. So this is something I experienced.
But I think that's when you're actually comfortable with yourself and it's just a relaxed conversation. I think different thoughts come in, and otherwise, if you're prepared with some presentation, then you're just focusing on that. And sometimes the newer points which might come out from a conversation don't come out. Yeah. So in this case, the whole idea has been that let it just flow.
Yeah.
And good things will come out of that.
Yes, and there is interaction also, because you speak from your heart and by heart. And it's this is the beauty of the conversation and the dialogue, because when you interact, you make a synthesis from what the other person says and thinks and what you were thinking. And that's what the conversations are for. It's not to talk. It's to, while you talk and listen, to enrich your thoughts and your feelings. So if you are prepared, it's like that's it. You have something on the paper and that's it. But when you speak naturally, it's becoming, you don't know where the conversation will take you to, and you explore and find much more beautiful things that you have only in your mind or in the books.
Yep. But let's just put up what it started with, that first episode of Evolution of a Mediator with Ken Cloke. This is where it started, and I'm telling you that there wasn't this idea that I have to do so many videos as we go along. It just was something that I needed to put out there. And like I keep saying about the fact, why Evolution of a Mediator? Because there is so much that goes into someone being who they are as a mediator. To put it down to some 40 hours and that kind of thing was, I found it very sad. I find it really demeaning to mediators. So that started with that. And imagine that one step 2 years back, and so much got added. I look, you were not part of the first. I mean, obviously the first symposium you were not there, but that symposium also, it just happened. I mean, this was a thought in my head that, let me just wait. Let me open that. It was a thought in my head that everyone keeps talking about mediation, but does the user even connect to the word? But can't we just connect them to the process? So let's talk about that aspect of mediation in our culture and traditions. So this happened, which was, of course, very nicely called the Woodstock of Mediation by Raphael. And of course, I mean, 18 days of the symposium was spread over August and September. So 2 months we had these discussions, 97 speakers, 45 countries. So it was wonderful to get thoughts from all over. That the fact that obviously everyone in their countries look at it in a certain way, but you find out there are so many things in common in terms of how we look at mediation. So that was very nice. And then there's a show called In Conversation with a Beautiful Mind, which happened. Only let's put out mediators, let people have a face to mediators and people with a mediator mindset. So that was, of course, lots of episodes of that from all parts of the world. And I mean, actually, there is on my website, the mediatorvikram.com, there's actually a section on the YouTube channel. So there are links to all those conversations. So maybe I should open that out. Because I'm telling you, there is so much. I mean, all these videos, there is so much information out there. Where does a person find the information? Now, I don't know how does it work, Mandy? You go to the YouTube channel and you look for videos, or how do you find things?
I have subscribed to the channel, so I have notifications when there is something on, and all I write your name, and they come out.
And maybe you can also, maybe you can also actually put my name, put Mediator Vikram, and search a topic. Sometimes you will actually get that topic also. So basically, mediatorvikram.com, what you'll find is, of course, connecting, yes, all that, my physical space, but of course, the World Mediation Circle, the support. This 2023 Edutainment, this is where what is coming up in the year will keep coming in here. And of course, if you subscribe to the newsletter, that's a LinkedIn newsletter, there you will, I keep putting up what's coming up, because a lot's coming up as we go along this year also. So that comes in there. Various ways to connect and find information, because obviously social media will not show you all the posts. So this is all the various shows: Evolution of a Mediator, In Conversation with a Beautiful Mind, lectures about mediation, talking books, mediator experiences, mediator reflects. If you click on any of these, it will take you to the playlist of that show or the event.
Okay.
You just have to click here and you will go there. And last day of the month is to celebrate the birthdays of mediators and peacemakers in that month. I put out a mediation open house that people want to just come in and have a general conversation. They can always do that. So this is what happened in 2022. So you can actually go there. So what I've tried to do is, I mean, like the World Mediators Conference happened. So there is actually a link to a schedule with all the details of the speakers and the links to the sessions. And there is a YouTube playlist also. So you can click here and go there. Of course, there were 93 sessions there, the 31 speakers in the indigenous peoples and mediation. Again, the same thing. Click here for the details of the session, the speakers, and the YouTube playlist. Then heart, soul, spirituality, and mediation. When we celebrated Women's Day, there were 25 women from 17 countries who came together. So again, the YouTube link is here. Then philosophy and mediation. That was in association with the Hellenic Union of Mediators and OpenMed. So you can click here for those speakers and the YouTube playlists, then colonization, decolonization, again, the same thing. So all those playlists and all, you can actually click from here also, and details of speakers here also. So this is 2022. So we neutrality and mediation. Then we had mediated experiences, all the episodes, you click here and you get the playlist. And then the forum series, we had Mahatma Gandhi and mediation, Socrates and mediation. Then we had a session on World Creativity and Innovation Day, on creativity, innovation, and mediation. Then Ombuds, we had lots of discussions on that. Then we had the Peacemakers Day celebration. So this was in 2022. Then there is a whole section on Ken, various, because he's been so nice to be part of all these events. He's the face of the, like I say, the face of the dispute resolution revolution. So all the shows and events that he's come on, if you click on the links, you can actually go to those recordings. And there's a playlist, a Celebrating Ken playlist on the channel. You can click here and you can see all the videos that he's been part of. So there's so many things that he's been part of the Talking Book series. I've got the various symposium. And then there is 2021. Similar thing, we had that symposium. Then this was the theme of the symposium, that people around the world may not be familiar with the word, but they're familiar with the process. And the idea is to connect them to that. So that happened. And then we had various chats on In Conversation with Beautiful Mind, Evolution of a Mediator, Mediator Experiences, lectures, there's various lectures. Again, the same thing, Mandy, the idea was, let it be unstructured. So we're not going through a kind of a whole structured, I mean, telling people about mediation in a certain way. Let the lecturers say what they want to. The best in the world, get them together and let them do that. So some lectures happened there, or lots more will happen this year. Then the books and the mediation visionaries. What I did was I just put out a mediation vision 2026 last year. So I put out all these topics that we had the symposia that we had were topics that I put up last year on the mediation vision 2026. So colonization, decolonization, and indigenous peoples and all that. And then I started having these events based on those topics. So that's how this grew. I'll show you, I actually put up a list, the mediation vision 2026. Of course, YouTube channel, like I said, has some links to the evolution of a mediator and In Conversation part of it. I'll take you through that. But Mediation Vision 2026, I'd put out these points for topics for discussion. So culture and traditions, we had that symposium, which was on mediation in our culture and traditions. Then colonization, decolonization, we had that symposium. On the mediator mindset, I mean, the whole thing is that we have to identify people with the mediator mindset. And I mean, that whole thing about the circles, which we spoke about, we'll take it there. Heart, soul, spirituality happened. The symposium also happened, philosophy. So this was all topics that I put out earlier. Today, what we see is a symposium on that. This was just a topic. Let's just discuss philosophy in relation to mediation. And we actually had that discussion. Like the diversity, equity, inclusion, we'll have some sessions on that. So the women in mediation, World Mediation Circle, was just a topic that I'd written there. Now I'm putting it into practice. So creating that. So religion now, like I've put religion here. Now a symposium starts on the 1st of February on religion and mediation. So school mediation circle and all was just a thought. Now it's a part of the World Mediation Circle, how to bring in teachers as peacemakers and all that also. Same thing with the communities. So all this has kind of become part of the World Mediation Circle. These discussions we had as part of the World Mediators Conference. Is it a way of life? Is it a profession? Or is it a life skill? Then, of course, legislation. Now, this whole discussion has to happen on the legislation part of it because I have my thoughts there. Creativity, innovation, we had that forum. We'll have more of these discussions on that. The role of mediators, again, now getting linked to the World Mediation Circle, that finally the larger role of mediators, of course, mediation is doing a mediation is one thing, and the larger role in relation to social problem solving, global problem solving, and all. And digital and all, like we were looking at Chat GPT. So, where does that fit in into the scheme of things? We'll have a discussion on that. So then, of course, online mediation, what's happened, the science and technology, we can maybe look at that aspect, AI and all there. When I said, like, if there are people who have projects in relation to mediation, bring them up and let me try and tell people who want to, in some way, fund those projects in a monetary or non-monetary way. Let's do something. So all that was a thought. And of course, becoming a patron and PayPal thing was put out because, yes, a lot of time is spent and it would have been good. But I don't see anyone. I mean, people really, of course, you've been nice, but it's not generally that people want to. I think if these things have come for free, and when you have something for free, it's not really valued, which I was telling you earlier also about Ken Cloke. The fact that he comes in and other people are charging hundreds of dollars to have him in their sessions and charging people for that, I felt that, look, a person like him with his wisdom should not be confined to a few people. It has to be out there. Everyone should benefit from that. So that's why this whole thing, how to fund it. So that's why the World Mediation Circle, let it be a kind of a funding activity. Let's collect from people and mediators share in it. They get some regular amount coming in so that they can be full-time mediators. Lots of thoughts there, Mandy. Now your suggestions.
Yeah, I was thinking while you were rolling down all these things that have happened. These only two times I've participated in the symposium. It was very nice when it was a team of people talking and interacting. But I think that when if it was a live symposium, there would be, we would be all there to listen everybody, to talk to each other, to know to each other. But this way, you give too much time, maybe, and to participate and to go back to your work after your speech is not giving all this value this thing you do has. I mean, every time I've spent time to listen and to be there while and other people are talking, it's much more important for me, and it is working very, very nice. So I believe maybe we should find a way this online meetings are much more meetings.
That's the whole idea behind these mediation circles, that we'll have meetings of these circles, and everyone part of that circle interacts with each other. Then we'll have the larger groups coming in, so that, look, Zakynthos, you have one meeting, then you have the Greece meeting, then you have the world meeting. So everyone participates. Look, what happened was that we had to discuss these topics. So when a person comes in as a speaker, we had 1 hour sessions. 1 hour also was not enough to really let other people come into the conversation, because there were back-to-back sessions happening. So, and all of them, I always have them on time, starting on time. There've been a situation where someone has gone a little extra, so I've asked the other person that can the person go on. So 1 hour has actually not been enough for people to participate. So what happened was people just became spectators. They were not really being able to participate in the sessions, but there wasn't enough time. So then I slowly, I think people also understood that they can watch it on YouTube whenever they want, and being part of the Zoom session for those symposia, because largely it's been those symposia. The World Mediators Conference were panels, so they were all discussions. So that was like the format difference there, that let's have speakers on the topics to start with. And in the World Mediation Conference, you can choose whatever topic. That those 93 sessions happened because everyone just chose their topics and we had discussions on that. And everyone was welcome. All the panelists were welcome to attend any of the sessions. So we'll do that. And then, so we had that structure. Of course, Andrea's here. Yes, Andrea, how are you? Andrea is okay. I mean, a slower reaction. Andrea, how are you?
Hi, Vikram. Happy second birthday.
Thank you very much. Now it seems like it's my birthday. Even Mandy was playing the cello, and it suddenly seemed I've become 2 years old now.
So you only got 2 years ago. Hi, Mandy. How are you?
Hi.
And of course, Andrea knows that I'm
very nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
I was just saying to Vikram that I feel connected with the friends mediators that we have interacted, and you are one of the persons. We have been together twice, 3 times, and I feel much closer with you. I watch others to talk, but since I've been there when you had your participation, I feel much more connected with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Isn't it lovely? You know, I think that's what I love. And I've said this to Vikram so many times. It's that sense of connection that we get from being online and having a conversation and discussing our thoughts and, you know, just kind of sharing those things. And you learn, like you learn so much. You go away and, you know, something that you might have thought before, you'll have a second think about it.
Yeah.
And maybe change your mind a little.
But let me tell you, Mandy, I mean, Andrea, that these are not just words that she's saying. She actually sent me a picture. And let me put that picture up, because she was part of some discussion that we were having, and you, of course, were part of that. And she sent me that picture, such a nice picture that it came out really nice. Let me put it up. This was the picture she sent me.
Ah, mine's all right. That's so lovely.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is to me also one of my, and what I was saying to Vikram is so happy moments. We were laughing and it was so fun and friendly and so nice.
Yeah. Vikram, you'll have to send me the photograph so I can have it
right now, ma'am. It's coming to you right now. But just when she sent it, yeah, Andrea.
Can I ask you a question? I think you're in the hot seat today.
Oh my God, please don't do that to me.
So when you look over the last 2 years and you think of all the connections that you've made, does it feel good or does it feel like there's more to do?
Look, let me tell you, it actually feels really nice, definitely. But when you were saying, or I am saying that I'm celebrating 2 years, it's only then do I realize it's 2 years. It's just gone like that.
Yeah.
I can't even, I mean, really, for me, it's like, when did we do that? It was just what that conversation with Ken just happened, what, some time back kind of thing. It's not 2 years. And yeah, that's a long time if you really think of it. And I haven't got to know. It's just been back-to-back events, and things have just gone. I mean, when did that time go? I have no idea. It's been wonderful. It's just been wonderful that whole time. Just having these conversations that we've had, it's just been lovely. I could not have asked for better. This was so connections.
So do you know how many people have actually spoken on your shows in total in those 2 years?
Look, they've been, hundreds of them. Let's not say hundreds. Look, we started off with 100 in that symposium itself, that first symposium itself. And then obviously we've had 5 more symposia. I think we've done 6 symposia. We've done the World Mediators Conference. So I'm actually should put out the list. I should do that. I mean, this is something that I never end up doing. Let me put a list out of all the people who participated in all the shows. So Symposia is one thing, Mediator Experience is In Conversation with a Beautiful Mind. And let's put it out. It'll be interesting to see how many people have actually participated.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I think it's fascinating to know the numbers that you've managed. So I always think of kind of like the spider web. So how far has that web gone? Like how many people has it reached? And you know, it's not even so they're the people maybe that talked on your show. That doesn't take into account the people that have listened to the shows or listened to it. So it'll be interesting to look at first how many people have actually spoke on your show, and just to see. I think Ken talks about the butterfly effect, you know, so it'd be great to see the butterfly effect of what you've done in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Look at things like the say Evolution of a Mediator. That's is episode that we had, and we had people who were watching, and when we were doing that little transcript, we saw like Stefano had his input. So we should take that also into account. That people who've been on the show, even participating in those episodes, might not be a event as such, but just their thoughts that they put across. So even if I add those people, oh, it'll be, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how many countries. Let me put the countries in front of the names also. And actually, let me put it out. It'll be good for me also to see that. I mean, just the fact that so many of them.
But I think, Vikram, it'd be good for you to actually see what you've achieved, because sometimes we don't celebrate the things that we achieve because we're so busy trying to achieve more. And I think it'd be really good for you to actually look at that and go, God, do you know, that's what, and I know everybody was doing it with you, but I mean, you started this, you keep it going, you do all the work behind the scenes. And I think for yourself, you need to take a step back and actually see how vast that is.
Actually, what I also should do is structure it in a way that I can actually communicate with all those people. I never got into creating these email databases and all that. I just put out these posts and I just tell people to come in. Like for this celebration also, I must have sent emails out to people who were part of my shows, but they all go out in bulk mail that I put out. So they must be going to spam folders. They will not even know that there is a Zoom link available to them. So I have to create one of those email newsletter kind of things. I mean, I really never looked at it from that perspective. For me, it was just, let's have conversations. Let's put that out. Let people benefit, whatever, for people who have all these words of wisdom to put out there. And that's exactly it. Never tried to create this into a institutionalized, structured approach to reach people. Good or bad, I can't say. Because, yeah, I don't.
What would you say was the highlight for you in those 2 years?
The highlight for me is, let me play the highlight. Better to play rather than say it. That should be something which for me has really been the highlight. And of course, you heard this, but I'm going to play it and you can hear it again. Oh, it was, I call this the highlight only because, look, everyone says this, but when I hear it from, let's put it out there.
Well, and I'm using that as a kind of beginning for thanking you for the gift that you have given to all of us of all of these sessions that you have done. You have identified incredibly important topics in conflict resolution, topics that no one is really speaking about. Or if they are, they aren't speaking together, or if they are, they aren't speaking deeply about these issues. And these are important issues and ones that we need to look at deeply. So thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Appreciated for all the work that you've done in this, Vikram. I do think it's important to support each other in the work that we're doing. So I do want to recommend to those who are listening that you support Vikram in the work that he is doing, because it is really incredibly valuable work.
So, Andrea, can I ask for better? Can I ask for better?
No, that's brilliant. But you know, it's nice to somebody to ask you the question and for you to share that highlight.
I mean, I'm telling you that these highlights, every conversation has been a highlight for me. I
Mm.
did not know people. I didn't know them at all. I never met them before, never spoken to them before. They come into one of my shows, like in Conversation with a Beautiful Mind. Person comes in for the first time. I'm having that conversation, and we have a 3-hour conversation. It's just wonderful. And I'm telling you that these are things which, again, they're going out on YouTube. I know that, yes, it's happening, but it's just a little thing on top that shows that it's being live streamed. Otherwise, it's just sitting in your living room having those conversations, and they're going into interesting areas. We also don't know where it's going to go, and that's been really, I mean, really nice that you can have people from any part of the world. You can connect like that, as long as you bring, which we've spoken about, bring your authentic self, just connect at a deeper level, and all those other layers that the world puts around you, they don't matter at all. You go straight for the heart, soul, bring in your spirituality, and you connect like that. And that's been the nice part.
Oh, so if you were to look at everybody that you've met, and you've met so many people from different nationalities, different cultures, different in all sorts of ways, what would you say your greatest learning has been on humans, on us as a human race? What has the greatest learning been?
Look, I'll tell you, once, of course, look, I've identified people on various spaces. Of course, could be attending a webinar and hearing someone, or just on maybe a post gives you a certain tone of what the person is about. So first of all, it was identifying the right people. And once you have those wonderful people, the beautiful souls, the people with the mediator mindset, when you bring them together, the energy that you feel, the right people, when you get them together, and why am I putting it all out? Just to show that there are such wonderful people out there, and you can have these wonderful conversations. People have got lost into a lot of negativity, and wherever that negativity comes from, I don't know where it's coming from. The news brings it, or social media brings it, or whatever it might be. So I said, let's create a world of mine, my little bubble, as I call it. So let in that bubble get people in whom you want to bring in. And I was telling you like about Ireland. I said, why do I ask people to put their countries? So that people know that such wonderful people like Andrea out there. So all those stereotypes of Ireland, like Elizabeth, now she's of course another of those people. Elizabeth, we were saying all these bad things about you, about all the people who have come into my shows. I was telling Andrea. Andrea's question is that what is your comment on the human race in general based on all these things, events that you've done? So I was saying, just getting wonderful people together and bringing them in, that positive energy that comes in, and the fact that there are wonderful people in every corner of the world, and the stereotypes that come in because of whatever nationalities or language and all those things don't matter at all when you're connecting at a deeper level. So Liz, first of all, thank you for coming in and for being part of events.
Yeah, glad to be here to help you celebrate. It's so exciting.
Thank you. But you haven't met Mandy and Andrea, so please.
Hi.
Hi, Liz. Great to meet you.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I'm noticing they have their location. Should I add my location?
I've done that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Liz,
so you have to. I'll just kind of jump in wherever you are. So just keep talking, and I'll jump
Liz,
in.
I've actually turned the tables a bit on Vikram. I'm asking him questions.
I love it.
No, I don't love it. I don't love it, Liz. No,
So I was asking him what was, one of the moments that stood out for him. So one of the things he showed us was the clip of Ken Cloke expressing how important Vikram's work was, and where Ken actually thanks him for the work he does. And then the next question was, what has he learned? I was saying he's met so many people across so many different cultures, nationalities, mindsets, and everything. And so what was that he has learned from that? And so that's where we were when you came in, Liz. So feel free to load up the questions with me.
Look, let me tell you one highlight. Liz, the highlight that she brings in is the fact that she is very, very open with her heart and the hearts that she gives out in the sessions. We were having a discussion and lots of hearts went out like that. So that's and when you see that happening and you feel that yes, people are out there and they want to give so much love into the world, and that just feels good. People are out there. Let's just put these people together. That's what it's all about. I mean, and of course, the concept of the stereotypes, I will still keep commenting on that because there are too many stereotypes people have, and we have to go beyond that, and we have to go to individuals. But based on those individuals, I don't mind stereotypes. So I don't mind people saying everyone from Ireland is like Andrea, or everyone from the US is like Liz, or everyone from Greece is like Mandy. I don't mind that stereotype. So let's create the positive stereotypes.
Positive stereotypes.
Exactly. So that's been the kind of, I mean, look, these are not conscious things. I can't say these are conscious things. These just, they happen. I keep doing it. I'm not thinking, there's no such thing in the, okay, I have to do it this way. Things just happen. It's totally unstructured. You can't even believe how unstructured this whole thing is. That world media, even the mediation in our culture and traditions, that 97 speakers, 1 week before that, there was no one. Only Ken was the only one who was confirmed. That's the only thing. But I said, let's just put it out. In 1 week, this just, I don't know how, it just, people just started connecting, and all these things were scheduled. And if I show you that schedule, it's somewhere, I'll try and open it. Very interesting. It was like a nice, colorful thing happened because I kept putting out regions. Where is this person from? Which part of the world? Which continent? And it just became such a nice event. And something that was going to happen for a few days went in for 2 months, and back-to-back session, 5 sessions a day, 6 sessions a day. Oh my, that was like those 2 months. So it just grew, and there was no idea it was going to go there. And it's not planned. I see conferences planned for next year. In September of 2023, we are going to have this. Here it is, next week we are going to do this. That's the difference. So that's been, I mean, of course, Andrea's question is, of course, more about the people. And I'm telling you, Andrea, I don't know how that happens. It's gauging people and how I do it, what really is processed, I can't say. But
I think people find it hard to say no to you, Vikram.
I don't know. Do you think? No, I don't. I think the wonderful people that I connect to, they do not want to say no. Maybe.
That's it. They don't want to say no. Yeah, that's more like it.
And I think there were topics that were being discussed with, like Ken just said, no one was discussing those topics, and everyone had thoughts on those topics, but maybe there was no platform, no opportunity to actually discuss them. So I think that was also one reason of people wanting to come into these events, because obviously you have everyone. I mean, look, how many, even hundreds of people together is nothing compared to the mediation world that we have out there. So everyone is looking at, okay, even with Liz, we were having discussion on the ombuds. I don't know, she'll tell me, but these were things which maybe were not really discussed in the ombuds world. She'll tell me, I don't know. I mean, because
yes and no, but this is a unique forum, right? And I think it's nice to have this informal place just to, like you've been saying, connect and meet other people. And, from ombud, I mean, I don't want to speak for all my ombuds colleagues, but for me, I just love the idea that this is one more platform to raise awareness, right? And so even though, sure, we're having a conversation amongst ourselves and learning from each other, but we're also helping educate, right, the world at large who may know nothing about mediation or ombuds or other topics that you're discussing. So I think it's a great way to put it out there, and it's one more tool to help raise awareness of the work we're doing. So that's awesome.
I think the important thing, I think, is that these are people who, if it reaches those people who, like you said, might not know nothing about mediation, but if the right people are talking about it, for me, look, right people are the ones I bring in. Those are the right people. Everyone else is a wrong person to talk about mediation, because obviously mediation is discussed in various ways. So there is a certain aspect which Andrea has also heard me very passionately talking about, certain aspects which I really criticize a lot. I might have alienated a lot of people, maybe, I don't know, but I have my thoughts on how I want to take it forward, how I feel mediation has to be promoted or even discussed. There is certain aspect which I want to look at it. Even in the ombuds thing we were discussing, I am trying to put it into a situation where it is easy for the user to understand. So I'm actually figuring out, which we kind of did in our discussion, how can we create an organizational mediator, an organizational peacemaker. I want to use simpler words that they connect to. Ombuds is such a complicated role which has different connotations in different parts of the world. People understand ombudsman in a very different way in some parts of the world. So I say, let's simplify language, because ultimately it's about people connecting to a process. That's all it's about. We are not concerned with the technical aspect of it. What kind of mediation? What are the models? Finally, the user doesn't understand all this. I think we've been confusing the user a lot. And because of it, are they staying away from the process, thinking it is some rocket science? We won't understand it. And why not go for the normal method of dispute resolution, which has been going around for years? Maybe, just a thought. So let's connect on a very simple basis. So that's why this whole discussion with you, because today only I was reading an advertisement from the Harvard advertisement for an ombuds. If I show you the requirements there, you'll ask me, does a person like that exist? I'll show it you. I'll show it you right now, because now you picked that up. It's amazing that, I mean, such simple person available to the, say, organization, to be made into such a large activity, very, very complicated for a person. Let me put it up 1 second. I mean, I've gone into a tangent, but it's good that you've spoken about this, because I wanted to actually have a discussion on this, but we can do it right here. Okay, this is what the requirement is.
Oh, yeah, a recent posting, yeah.
Yes. Now let's just look at the requirement. Okay. Job description. Okay, whatever. Now let's find a person like this,
And keep in mind, this is an organizational ombuds position. This is one, as you're getting at, Vikram, the different types, right? This is an organizational ombuds role.
Actually, where is the requirement? Where the job requirement? Where did that?
Well, he's looking. Andrea and Mandy, what are your roles? What do you do?
Well, obviously I'm a mediator. I'm based in I work with anybody really who finds themselves in a conflict situation. But a lot of my work would be with families. So separating couples or families who find themselves not being able to move forward and stuck. So sometimes I'd work with a family over 6 or 7 weeks where there might be issues around teenagers and things like that. And then I also work with couples who are separating and trying to put forward an agreement rather than use the court system. So what happens here in Ireland is that they do bring their mediation agreement to the solicitor to have agree themselves. They can bring a support person into the mediation room, but they generally don't. They generally come in on their own and do mediation. And I also do mediation for organizations and workplace. So really, for me, it's the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter what what I suppose system it shows up in. Conflict is disputes are disputes, and it's about going in and providing a space that people feel safe enough to talk about. And this is, Vikram knows I'm all about the safe space, providing a safe space for them to really kind of have those conversations and make their own agreements. Do you know what I mean? That just to facilitate that. So that's really what I'm passionate about, is allowing that space. And also then a little bit of education. So sometimes I will go into companies and do some training around conflict or how mediation might help, or just kind of mediation skill sets, as opposed to, we have to do an assessment here to be a mediator, or whatever else. But, everybody needs a mediation skill set, needs a mediation mindset, so from the youngest child in the house to, the oldest relative in the house, everybody needs that. So I suppose that's another thing I'd be passionate about, is kind of sharing that yeah, but I'm busy. Like it's got so busy in the last 6 months. Like it's every day, yeah, no, it's great. It is great because it means things, but I am finding I'm a bit short on time. I don't have as much time as I used to have. So Vikram told me I can't forget about this family. I need to come back on the work.
The Ireland Mediation Circle, the book. But let me tell you about the safe space, Andrea. Sarah Blake in Australia, she's come out with a book where she's got contributions from various people. So I contributed to that. And I did speak about how Andrea talks about the safe space that I've created and how much of a responsibility it is, and how I've had to keep people away. The supremacists of the world I had to keep away. Supremacists on color, language, nationality, everything. Because of the safe space, the responsibility that you've put on me, Andrea, it's a responsibility.
But Vikram, I really believe that as a mediator, if you provide a safe space, anything is possible. Because when people feel safe, they can be vulnerable. And if you allow somebody to be vulnerable, they can connect to themselves and then they can connect to the other person. So to me, it's key, so yeah. So, but I do feel bad that I put you under pressure to maintain that safe space, Vikram, because you do it naturally. You don't even need to think about it.
No, that was really nice. Now, before Liz now has to ask Mandy. Mandy, Liz wants to ask you, what are you doing? Yes, Liz? Please tell us. Tell her about yourself. First, let me tell you before she starts that she's on a very beautiful island in Greece called Zakynthos. I would love to show you the pictures, which I will while Mandy's talking.
Oh,
so
I'd love to see them.
Yes, Mandy, please tell Liz about yourself. And that's 1 hour. You have to keep an hour for yourself now, Liz.
Yeah, I'm also living the job of the lawyer because it's very aggressive for my taste, and I'm on the mediation mindset. What I love very much is that it is calming me like the sea. I love very much.
This is where she is. I can imagine whatever she says coming from a place.
That's mediation is very similar for me with the sea. It has this nice power, and I feel it's a very connecting, not only for other people, but for me with myself. And for every person that has a case, I realized that the first step is to connect and feel safe, not only with me and the procedure of mediation, but with themselves mainly. I realized that everything starts from our relationship with ourselves. And what is very beautiful is that not only the nice things, but sometimes the bad things that people feel when they have a conflict, and these fears and pain they have, you realize that you are connected with all these people because not only because of empathy, but because this is part of you also. What Vikram said before, that all humans are humans. This is what we all are, with our light and our darkness, which is very okay with the darkness also. And this mediation is so nice to help us become friends with the darkness of ourselves, and to help people not to be so afraid of their darkness, which is the conflict. Because as long as they are afraid, they try to look at the other side and to pretend that this is not because of them, it's because of the others, and all these things. And I realize every time I share my darkness with people who come to mediation, And when I talk to them about how it is much more, I sympathize myself and I become friend with my darkness also when I talk with other people. And they realize that it's not that bad. And it's, you know, it's much more stronger, the light, even if the whole room is dark. Just, you know, a very big spot of light stops the darkness. So it is very nice that we connect, we feel that we unite our lights and the room becomes lighter. And this is for us also very nice. I mean, I don't feel I'm something special or different from the people who come with conflicts here. To me, it's we become one, and this is very nice because I humiliate myself, and they feel which is humiliated, and they feel better because they realize that we are equals and we are the same. So this opens the hearts and the minds, and fear doesn't leave the room, but it is okay to be there, and we sit all together and talk with the fear also, to accept it, to become friends with the fear and the pain. And this is something which is very, very helpful for all of us and for the conflict. But for all of us, because I feel that every time we share, people become stronger. And, you know, all this thing with Facebook and Instagram, we all show our smiles and our beauties, and we find the profile which is the most beautiful, and everybody thinks that he is lovable only in his bright side. But when people feel okay to be with their ugly side also, it's okay. It's very nice. It's very nice. You feel free. And I like very much feeling people free to be their full self. And it's okay that we all want to post a smile to others, because this is where we want to go, to the smile. So this is what we choose, and this is why we show that. And it's okay, but I feel I become a better person with this thing, and this is what I love with mediation, and this is what I hated with the law, as it is as a job. Yes, it is so aggressive and so, you know, the clever, the strong, all these things. It's very nice.
Of course, like you can notice that she has lots of nice things to tell us, very positive things, and about the peace in the world and human beings and all that. There's lots coming from there. But what is important today is for you people to tell me what is the good things that you found on the channel, and of course, going forward, suggestions on how things should be structured, if they have to be, what are the things. So Andrea, you're the one who's going to tell us to start with. What is it that you found useful? What are the criticism going forward? What would you suggest? Everything.
I think what I find great is that it's recorded, so you can go back. So even if you're kind of busy and there's something going on, you can go back and listen. And what I love about being able to go back and listen is you're able to stop it and rewind it and really listen. Like, so, you know, when somebody says something, when it's live, even though it might trigger something in you and say, God, wow, you know, but it's gone then. Where when it's recorded, you can go back to it, and the profoundness of it is more real because you can let it sink in. You can go back, you can listen to those words again and go, wow. I mean, even I was listening to Mandy talking there, Mandy, and how you described, you know, I suppose becoming friends or being comfortable with our dark side and our darkness. I love the way you explain that. Like, I love how you did that. So being able to know that you can go back and re-listen to that and just hear exactly what it is people are saying. And so I love that, Vikram. I think probably the highlights for me are getting to see, listen to people who you've admired, who you've read their works, and never in a million years did you think you'd be sitting in the same room as them. And you're listening to these great teachers nearly, I know we're online, but we're one-to-one, we're in the classroom with them, we're learning from them. And to me, that is the greatest gift you've given so many people.
And I'm going to cut you here for a minute.
Yeah.
Because Ken is here and Ken takes precedence over Andrea. Normally, not but Liz wants to say bye.
That's okay. I'm totally okay with that.
Liz, if you want, you can, if you have 1 minute, you can say hi to Ken if you have that 1 minute or whatever. I will. Hi, Ken.
I do have a meeting to go to, but Ken, I'm so glad the pictures overlapped. Good to see you.
Hi.
But Ken, we want to hear you also. We want you to unmute yourself. We'd like to see you, but we like to hear you also.
A friend just sent me some wonderful photographs of Maria Callas, the absolutely opera singer, just doing several holds like this. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, lovely.
So, thank you very much, Ken, for coming in. But for a minute, we'll just say bye to Liz because she wants to.
I know I have to go when you just got here. And I'm so sad.
Cancel that meeting, Liz. Cancel that meeting. Come in here. Forget it. Those people can wait.
We'll talk again soon.
Okay, bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye, Liz.
Sorry.
The important thing, Ken, is that the face of the dispute resolution revolution is looking better now. So that is a good thing. Everything okay now? I mean, is there any pain or everything okay?
Yes, so far as I know. I'm visiting with a doctor this afternoon, so I'll know a little bit more. But basically, I'm feeling better and no longer have the black eye that I had the last time I talked with you.
Exactly.
So that's a big improvement.
Yeah, because like I said, the face of the dispute resolution revolution should always look good, but there will be always spots on that face, which.
Hi, Andrea. Hi, Mandy.
Hi, so good to see you. You look so well, Ken. I said you look so well.
Well, thank you so much. Appearance deceiving, but I'm feeling good.
Good.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, and before you've come in, we've heard some very nice words of appreciation for sure, which they didn't have a choice. They had to say that. We were coming to criticism. We were coming to criticism also, but we were on the good things right now. And
so what are people thanking you for?
And yeah, what are they thanking me for?
For me, Ken, I suppose I turned the tables initially on Vikram because he's always asking the question. So I asked him, which was a moment that stands out for him. And so that moment was actually you, Ken, talking about the work that he has done and the appreciation. So that was the moment that stood out for him. And the next question I asked him was the fact that he's connected to so many people across different nationalities, different cultures. What is the learning he's taken away about human nature and about the human race? Because, and the other thing I was saying to Vikram is he needs to figure out how many people have actually spoke on his shows, because I would say it's probably a world record for one person to have so many speakers over 24 months. So I think I was saying he should step back a little bit and reflect and appreciate for himself the work he has done, even though we see it and we appreciate it. I think, for Vikram to step back, because sometimes we get busy doing, and we don't see what's being achieved. And the other thing I was talking about was one of the good things about the recordings was that when somebody speaks and they say something profound, it's with us, but yet we mightn't remember exactly. So I love being able to go back and listen and actually pick up on those words of wisdom. And my other thing that I said was, it was such a privilege to be in the room of the great teachers like yourself, Ken. So it's, you know, I have read so many books of so many great people over, you know, a number of years about mediation, about conflict, about loads of different things. But actually to be in the presence of those great minds and to hear what they have to say. And Vikram has created like a sitting room. It doesn't even feel like you're online. And I think for me, that's one of the greatest things Vikram has done. He's given a gift to so many people that they would never achieve, you know, they would have never had the opportunity for. And as a result, we have hundreds of mediators who are going to be better mediators because of Vikram. And those mediators, I was saying to him, it's like you're, as you say, the butterfly effect. Those mediators are going to make so much of a difference in so many other people's lives because they've learned something else that they can add to their toolkit. So yeah, so I don't know. I really, there's not enough praise I could give for what Vikram has done in the last 24 months. It's unbelievable.
But I mean, it really feels good to listen to that. Yeah, just Ken, when she's saying all that, to a certain extent, I would want to be humble and say, is she talking about me? But I know she's talking about me, so I won't be humble about that.
Yeah. There's a G.K. Chesterton, British writer, defined humility as not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
I was going to ask the same questions you asked, Andrea. I had thought in my mind, those were two of the questions that I'd wanted to ask. So I'm glad to hear that you asked them.
But I mean, the one answer they look into that is that in terms of connecting to people, I've been saying this, that you bring your authentic self and connect to the heart and to the soul, and connections happen like that. I was telling these people earlier that these shows that I've had people coming in for the first time. Like you came in for the first time when we had that episode. You just walked in and you just connect. There is something about human connections at a deeper level where nothing else matters. And in that instant, I've had these conversations, like these shows that I've had, like in Conversation with a Beautiful Mind. Persons walked in for the first time, never met the person, but yes, identified the person based on various factors. Could have been listening to the person in a webinar or whatever, but there is some connection that happens. And we've gone through a 3-hour conversation on the first time we met. It's just amazing how when you connect at that deeper level, those connections are amazing.
I think it's been brilliant, Vikram, not only in the ways that Andrea described, but also because you have reached down below the layer of sort of the top, kind of people who are doing all the talking, and brought into the conversation people who have never had an opportunity to really present on a world scale before. So it's democratized the conversation really beautifully. And another thing that you've done is you've asked wonderful questions. You've picked topics that are complex, where nobody really knows the answers. And we're all kind of struggling to figure out what it is, and created a global kind of dialogue around those issues, exploring them, thinking about them from different angles. And that's also really wonderful. And it's created a kind of a sense in people that this is not something that is dogmatic, that comes to us as in a kind of fixed form that we just have to accept. Instead, it's an exploration, it's an adventure. And that really comes forward in a lot of what the interviews that you've done. I think it's just absolutely brilliant.
Now I can say, Ken, are you talking about me?
Yeah. Mandy, what have you talked also in this session so far?
Mandy has spoken about, but
Mandy?
before Mandy comes in, let me tell you, in the last session, she had such wonderful things to say. If she can repeat it, I'll be so happy. Mandy, about the ocean and the sea and all that. Mandy, Please.
Yeah, I feel this circle that Vikram creates is like a sea, a Mediterranean Sea or an ocean, a Pacific Ocean. And we are all connected, and this is, all this power and this feeling that it takes you up. It's so nice and so connecting.
Yeah.
And we have this expression that says that I saw a light and entered. And this is how the living room of Vikram's is. It's not just light, it's a highlight. And you, dear Ken and Vikram, you are highlights. And we see this light, and I believe everybody who sees this light and highlight will feel happy to enter to this beautiful sea of mediation. And the other thing I would like to say is all these topics and of the symposiums, I'm very happy I see that mediation is all the aspects of life, all these topics that are connected with mediation, and you realize that it can apply to anything. That's also very nice, Vikram, I feel, with these symposiums and all these conversations. And this democratic and equality for all people. We have Ken among us, and he's acting, and we feel like we're completely equal, though you are so mastered. And we are all feeling so empowered and
This is what Ken was saying. I think, look, the thing is that you are highlights. I mean, Andrea, this is what Ken is also believes in. I also believe in. Everyone has that. It's just that we have to all be, I mean, for me, it's just a platform. I bring people in, and I think people have accepted that part, and I think connected with that you're listening to people for whom they are, not because whom you think they should be. So I think that's something which I think was something which I don't know. Yeah, Ken.
Two responses. One is that when you were talking about the sea, Mandy, I was remembering a wonderful phrase from Homer from the Odyssey, Odysseus, where he talks about what he calls the wine dark sea. I don't know how you would say it in Greek, but he calls it the wine dark sea. And that's how it feels to me. It's a kind of not the ordinary sea, but a sea that's really rich with meaning. And I think that what you do, Vikram, that's really beautiful is that you let people just be themselves. You invite them to be themselves. And that's a tremendous skill.
That's something which, like you said, I mean, how that happens, I don't know. Does that happen? Now you're telling me. I am looking at it, but Andrea is, of course, going to come in at this point. Yes, yeah. Andrea?
No, I was just going to say, Vikram, and Ken, he invites you in, but he also encourages you and empowers you, because I would have never talked about any of those topics, and even topics that Vikram will reach out to me and say, you talk about, I say, Vikram, I don't know enough to talk about that topic. And he was going, but you do, so come back to me and let me know what date and time suits you. And I think, but Vikram, I really don't feel I know enough to be no, you do. And come back and talk to me. You decided to talk about it. And
you realize that it comes true, exactly. What he says.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing.
And a funny instant, I was out walking the dog one day, and I had said no to Vikram, and I was walking the dog, and I was thinking about something he said to me, and I was going, do you know what? Vikram is right. I should be doing this. I shouldn't be saying no. And I rang him as I was walking the dog, and I said, Vikram, I am going to do it. So I did, but he got me to think. He didn't let me off the hook. He kept me hooked, and he needed to leave me and come back. But I think that's a gift. I don't think, again, I'm always saying to Vikram, he creates a safe space that people feel
Yeah.
they can, even if they don't know, they can try, you know, and I think that's a very special gift.
Oh, now again,
Very
I guess,
special.
are you talking about me kind of thing? But yes, but I'm telling you, Ken, after I spoke to Andrea about these topics like colonization, decolonization, she said, what am I going to talk about? And when she did talk about it, what the perspective that she brought it was so nice, very different from what you would have expected. Same thing with philosophy and mediation, with her bringing in her father's philosophy into it. And that, of course, special because she brought it on his birthday. So just those things, I mean, it's just so wonderful when you see that happening. It is not that we're not trying to create this academic space, which, like I keep saying, I'm an illiterate. So for me, if that aspect of life, maybe I I would not understand. But it's just not. It's just a space where those thoughts that everyone has, just let's bring them out. Let's talk about it, and it will connect with someone in some other part of the world. And that's why everything has to go out on YouTube, and that should not be a limitation. That, of course, I keep giving this example, Ken, about how people pay hundreds of dollars to listen to you, and just the fact that you've come in and been there to give your wisdom to everyone around the world. I think that's been really nice. Yeah, that's something which I think is a highlight for me, that you've done that. And I think people have really enjoyed it, appreciated, connected to it, learned from it. And Mandy is here. Mandy, of course, will.
Very generous, and big-hearted. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Because
Well, I think there's something beneath the surface of all of this, which is kind of why it is that the reception has been so terrific for this. The time is right for this kind of conversation to be taking place, for us to be connecting with each other globally. We don't really have that many opportunities to talk to one another, and yet the technology is there to connect us across national lines. And the world really needs this kind of conversation to take place, only multiplied a few million times, a few billion times, perhaps. And the possibilities of kind of learning what it is that is kind of culturally unique, and at the same time what is shared, come out of these conversations that you've created. And I love the fact that you have given culture and cultural differences, gender differences, political differences, all kinds of differences, permission to come forward and to connect with people who are very differently, you know, sort of living very differently, coming up with different techniques and methodologies, but underneath that, they share the same passion for this work.
That's thank you very much for saying that, because I'm telling you, the no conscious thing went into it. It just organically just developed that way. But
Yeah.
but like you said about these conversations, a multiplier effect has to happen. And that's why this whole about the World Mediation Circle and creating these circles in every community, that's the idea, that let's have these conversations, let people have them at every space. And finally, look, Ken, it comes down to what you had written 2 years back about the role of mediators. If you have to, they have to play a role in communities in various ways, in dialogue facilitation and consensus building and all that. We have to create those spaces everywhere. And it might be small spaces. Everyone that cannot fit into those spaces, like even the events and everything that I do, I'm very selective who comes in. Let that be selective. Let good people who have those thoughts come in. But when the positive energy spreads and people see these people having these conversations, they can actually resolve disputes. Conflicts is, of course, your world. You're a much larger world of conflicts. I'm the limited world of the disputes. But if they can actually resolve the dispute and learn from that, we will take that community. It's a community. It's a world by itself. And you'll hear me say this about activism, advocacy, politics on one side, and this group of people who can actually have conversations, objective discussions. That is, for me, what is missing. So again, media, social media, of course, activism, advocacy, politics. Let's keep them there, let them be who they are. I mean, we are not here to, I'm not here to change the world in a manner where all that will go away. Let it go away with the positive influences of these small communities which are developed, and local issues and global issues, all of them are connected somehow. So let these good people with the mediator mindset come together with people who have that collaborative mindset and attitude. Let that happen. So that's the idea of creating these little circles everywhere, so that these conversations, because obviously I will be able to only have a limited number of conversations in the time that I have. And but if Mandy is doing that, she's like a Zakynthos mediation circle she's creating in Zakynthos. You know that she comes from that beautiful island. Last time I showed you those pictures of that island. So she's creating that. I don't know, did I show you the, I think I showed you the island that she comes from. I'll show you a picture. But the fact that we'll create one circle there, and of course I've trying to get Andrea to create an island mediation circle when she gets the time that she, of course she's a busy woman now. So just create these little spaces. And I said this 2 years back, that my 1,000 reach out to 1,000. Have you have 1 million people out there with the mediator mindset? That's all we need to do. So a few hundreds have already happened to identified. Now they have to take it forward. And then it becomes, but again, it's going to be a multi-level marketing kind of thing. Everyone has to benefit from it. Every person has to earn out of it. Let's not do it for free. Let's not. We've done enough for free. I mean, I haven't. You people have. Look, I mean, all these conversations and everything, let's take it to the step forward, ahead, and let's create income for the people
Value.
also in that multi-level
Give
marketing
value.
thing. Yeah, let them value thing. So then these conversations are not just, I mean, okay, someone is talking about it. Let them put a value to those people. And then I think that revolution will be something which will reach out to lots more people, if we have created as a, like I said, multi-level marketing kind of thing. So I'm putting that thought into place of how that structure is going to happen, because I don't see it being difficult when that multiplier happens. 1,000 to 1,000 and 1 million, easy, I think. But that's a thought on these circles. But you have to tell us, Ken, when you started, when you had the Mediators Beyond Borders in your mind, when you created that, what was your thought that time?
Well, actually, one of the thoughts that I had was to create what you're doing now. I called it MBBU, MBB University.
Okay.
And the idea of it was, which I proposed, and everybody said, yeah, great idea, but nobody really stepped forward to do it. But the idea was to have multiple learning modalities that would connect people across the world, including interviews with mediators around the world, finding out what everybody is doing, including virtual classrooms, all kinds of ideas like that. But the thought that occurred to me in starting Mediators Beyond Borders was that there really fundamentally are two ways of bringing about a better planet. One is to work at the very top and try to make changes take place there, and that ends up being extremely difficult. And oftentimes when you work on that level, you get lost in a kind of labyrinth that's designed to almost prevent you from being effective. And the second is to build from below, to build understanding and really communicate person to person at the level of intention, at the level of awareness, at the level of insight, what it is that is possible using conflict resolution. And what is possible basically is to bring people who hate each other into conversations and collaborations that allow them to be different and united at the same time. So that, yeah, so the basic idea was to empower people in other countries and other cultures to create in their own communities the kinds of practices and to redesign those practices in ways that are reflect who they are and what their experience and background and understanding of the world is. Methods that draw people into connection with one another. So all of that is kind of very large, but what it consists of fundamentally is something very, very small, which is one person talking to another person across some division, some border, some boundary that they've created in order to protect themselves.
But this, which is what I think, this is the whole idea behind those circles, that people have that in every community, school, organization. But at any point of time, Mandy, Ken, you're going to say I have to leave, but Mandy wants to play the cello. She's learned happy birthday on the cello today. She wants to play that. So Mandy, please get it fast, because Ken is any minute going to say that I have to step out.
Oh, yeah. Not only I will I want to interact myself. I introduce myself. I am a 2-year-old cello player. So don't wait, something very great. And I will try also to play Imagine, which is very difficult, but I will play the first notes. Shall we sing or I play alone?
You play alone first. I think that is what our singing will drown your cello. She actually learned this today.
I have a teacher who is 17 years old and a schoolmate who is 10. And this is the greatest for me.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very nice. So, sorry.
Yes. While she's setting it up, let me just put this up for you again. This is where she's sitting. This is the island that
I
she's on.
changed the room because I have a problem with my signal.
This is where Mandy is. Just to tell you where these nice thoughts come from.
Gorgeous.
This is the place we are having our next symposium, Vikram.
Yes. Yes, Ken, this is where you're coming.
Mandy, not too far.
Yeah, I will be very happy to share my home with you and come to have live discussions.
Yes.
With wine and Maria Callas.
Sounds good, Mandy.
Nice. So, yeah.
Bravo. Bravo, Mandy. Yay.
Mandy, I love your bravery at starting an instrument 2 years ago. I love how brave you
I
are.
had lesson today to teach me. My teacher was sick, so this is what I managed alone. And I managed to have very, very little of Imagine, because this is the meaning of Vikram's circle. Sorry. Give me a second, because I think it's a wrong song. What I'm playing. Okay, let's stop to happy birthday, and next time I promise I will play Imagine with my teacher.
But what I also, but I think, Ken, your words of wisdom, what I have to do now is take out little clips and put them out, which is, I think, what is important, because I think we've got, like we were discussing, the long sessions we've had, and so much has come out of that. In today's world, I think people are looking for those shorter things. But I did identify one clip that I thought we should actually put out. I'm putting it out here only because, look, it was the first episode of the show which we started from, and I want to really, at least that one little clip should be out there. Where is that clip is the only thing I have to find. Yes. With the sound, I don't know whether the sound part of it I have shared. One sec. Okay. It'll be a little longer.
And I remember this particularly in connection with my father, who was really a teenager when he went off to fight in Spain. He was in this really brutal war against Hitler before World War II began, and was damaged and injured in ways that as a child I didn't really understand. But here's what I did get at a relatively early age, that if there is something inside of you that you are not willing to look at, there will be things outside of you that you cannot see.
So things like that, Ken.
That's quite a
So,
statement.
These
thank you.
so these are the things which have to go out. Sometimes I think these little words is enough for people to listen to. I think that's maybe they don't have time for the 1.5 hour sessions, but which everyone, I've asked everyone to help me wherever they find these little things that they feel should be out there. They let me know that what time to what time, and I'll edit it, because for me to go through all the videos now, obviously it's a little tough, but we need those words of wisdom out there. I think that's what you have contributed to the entire or these series of videos. But the only thing what happened is, Ken, is that now I don't want to do any event without you. And this the the genocide and mediation part of it, which you're not being able to give me time for, I don't even know, they'll have to skip it. I actually wanted to do it on the 27th of January, but we'll skip it. We can do it a little later. But that's what's happened with that whole concept of the face of the dispute resolution revolution. We need you, because look, the thing is that I have been able to bring in these objective discussions. You don't have this fixed thing that this is the box of mediation. Like you were saying, it's something that needs to be out there to be discussed. There's so much that can be discussed, which is what you've brought in. So people listening to you and you saying that, yes, it is a fluid thing. We have to have discussions. Everything has not been discussed, I think helps a lot. So of course, we are doing language and mediation 21st of February. But definitely, whenever you get time, please, there's enough number of events that I have planned. Whenever you get time, you tell me, we'll create an event around it.
Thank you, Vikram. Unfortunately, I have to leave. But I just want to, again, from my heart, say thank you for all of the wonderful things that you have done, and for giving me an opportunity to be with you and to be a part of this community.
It's been really nice, Ken. Thank you very much. And of course, we're looking forward to you spending lots more time with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Ken. Mandy's. So, Mandy, have I answered all the questions or have I not? Mandria?
Yes, no, I think that, I think that was good. I think that was a lovely way to round everything up. And yeah, it's hard to believe, Vikram, you've done so much in 2 years. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, when I say
now you have to spend quality time with your family.
I know that's the only risk I've done. I've risked my marriage on this whole thing. But
don't risk your marriage. Don't risk your marriage. Nobody wants that.
When you're sitting at midnight and you're having these conversations, look, listening to Ken and risking my marriage on the other end, what would you want me to do? Listen to Ken, won't die. But going forward, please, you have to give me suggestions as to how we need to take it forward. Whatever's happened has been, of course, topics have come up and we needed those discussions, but is there something else that you want that should happen in terms of the content, in the structure, or anything? Any suggestions, Andrea? Then of course Mandy will tell us.
No, I would say that sometimes there may be too much information to take it all in. So you're missing some things, but then it's recorded, so you can go back and look at that. And topics, I see, I'm not as brave as you, Vikram. So even if I picked a topic, you would always pick one much bigger or much more interesting than I'd ever pick. Because I would say some topics you come up where I was going, no, there's no way, like I wouldn't have an, and then some way you have this way of getting people to actually have a discussion and do a little bit of research and figure out about it. So I actually like, one of the things that I like is that you throw out the topic and I have to figure it out. So I like the challenge.
So tell me, Andrea, so language and mediation is coming up. So already start preparing for it. 21st February is when it starts. Ken is going to, of course, start this whole thing. So that's coming up. Religion and mediation, anything that you feel that, of course, I'm sure you'll bring in interesting thoughts there. So
well, religion and mediation is huge, was huge in this country because there, a lot of, anyway, we won't go into that now, but like there's plenty could be said. And
so that's plenty. That starts on the first week of February. So 1st of February, we're going to do that. And of course, 21st February, we'll do the language. And then, of course, I'll put out the schedule. Look, I've actually made the entire schedule out. And in terms of not dividing it into time as what time we'll do it, but dates. And I sent it out to Ken. And I told him, please, wherever you can give me time. So this is what is coming up next month. And after that, of course, we have our heart, soul, spirituality. We're going to keep having a discussion on that. But let's do this now, not in a speaker form. Let's do it as a panel form. Let everyone come into the discussion. Let's do that now. We've already had the speakers coming in, so we can have panelists coming in for various discussions. So maybe we can do that. But then what is coming up is that every group, circle that we have, we'll have a conference of that circle or a meeting of that circle, and we'll have discussions on that. So the climate change mediation circle will have a conference on the same date where we maybe Earth Day or whatever, one of those days, we'll have that. So we'll have those conversations now. Largely it'll be mediation circles having their conversations, but put it all out there on YouTube. Some people do tell me that, do you want to put everything out on YouTube? And I tell them that, look, that one person sitting in that one corner of the world connects and does something in their space, good enough for me. So that's how it is. So any other suggestions, Andrea?
No, I think you have, what you're doing. There's no, I can't find fault, but it's so, I think you do what you're doing. So Mandy, have you any suggestions?
Yeah, to make a live symposium. To meet each other, to hug each other. It's very nice, this online, this gives us a freedom we wouldn't have. But wouldn't be great to meet, to hug, to sit and drink and talk.
So Mandy, Zakynthos is where everyone is coming.
Zakynthos would be great. Yes, it would be great if you would like me to organize something here.
Yes, please start. Let's look at some
and swim in this beautiful sea and talk in the sea, in the sun.
Yeah, that is again something we have to really discuss, because the online world is going so well. Now the physical world, does it come with its own complications and challenges and issues? And do things remain the same or not? What do you think, Andrea? Is the online world, when things are...
I'm sensing from you, Vikram, there's a fear that people's, maybe their perception of each other might change if they meet in person. And they might do, but that mightn't be a bad thing. Do you know what I mean? That might actually be a good thing. That might be, I love connection. So I'm a bit like Mandy. I love connection. I love meeting people. I love chatting to people. And look, you'll never get everybody at the same time, but you might get a few people, and then again, you might not. So I don't know, Vikram, it's what you're comfortable with.
Look, how I look at it is that then it'll have to be very, very, those people who I know those special people who I know can respect that safe space. Because look, in the online world, it's been easy for me. I can disconnect people at any point of time. But in the physical world, if someone disrespects someone or is patronizing towards someone or shows their supremacist self, in the physical world, it can get a little complicated because I'm very clear about these things. Like you cannot disrespect anyone around me. And I've never been able to let people do that, whoever it might be. So that aspect is a little, for me, that's a little bit of a challenge. But the people, I know the people who will respect those spaces and the people. So let's get them together. First, it doesn't have to be the biggest circle in the world. Yeah.
There is something else which is nice, that we will interrupt our everyday life to meet and to have a deep connection, not only between appointments and bank and I don't know what for half an hour. It will be something, maybe it will be very curing and maybe not, but it's for sure yes.
Yeah, and then I kind of think we're all coming from the background of human understanding. We're all coming from the background of being mediators, and so I think we should all have the skill set to deal with where might come up. Do you know that if something does come up, and maybe sometimes there's learning in that.
Yeah.
Well, look, the thing is that it's about the fact of that mediator mindset. If that mediator mindset is there, there's no issue. Everything gets handled. So that's where the identification. Let's have it might be a little small circle to start with. Let's do that. And then as we go along, we'll get people whom I know that can work together. And because finally it has to also become a productive meeting at the same time. When good minds meet in a physical space, that energy, let's see how that works. Because definitely in the online world, it works. I have no problem with that. But physical world, who knows what good things come out of that? It might be just amazing, because finally it's all about energies that we keep talking about. And of course, we've had discussions in that symposium also. So let's do that. Mandy, please, let's look at a particular month where things are better in Zakynthos. Not too many tourists, because I'm sure tourists flood the place normally. But there must be.
The end of season may be very nice, and maybe we will find some hotels will offer rooms, and the tickets are very cheaper at October maybe, or late September, October.
Okay, perfect.
Would you like to look? Yeah,
that's okay. So October is the target, Andrea. It seems that things, I don't know what the weather, of course, will obviously be nice in October also.
Yeah, there is straight flights to Zakynthos.
Very nice.
From Europe.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's consider your October. Let's get the right people together to start with, and then, but at the same time, that physical meeting is also going to be live on YouTube.
Of course.
So
of course there will be that's the combination. We can be physical and online at the same time.
So just imagine that wherever you're staying, all that lobby and everything, will there be cameras? It'll all be going live. Okay, let's see that. Let's work that out. I think this is a good idea. Let's start. This is the only thing that I might, or we might need to plan in advance. My events, I don't need to plan in advance, but this we might need to. So let's put it in space. Let's start talking to whatever hotels and all, which are, of course, I mean, you know the best places there. So let's put that out there. So that's a good idea.
That will be great. Great.
So let's
to meet. Great. Have you met?
No.
Andrea and Vikram, have you met? No.
For me, I'm telling you, my entire mediation world is an online.
Like we have. Mandy, I feel like every time I meet Vikram that I'm stepping into a sitting room.
Me
All
too.
I'm short of doing is having a conversation with him.
Me too.
So it never feels like it's not. It never feels like it's not connected. It never feels like it's not real. It doesn't feel like online. So I would consider Vikram one of my friends. He is my friend. And we connect like friends. So and I feel very grateful for that. And it's all online. We've never met in person. So it just goes to show you the power of human connection. It doesn't necessarily be physical. I know physical is more powerful, but when that physical element isn't there, it's still possible.
But this
Yeah,
is
that's true.
there's
That's
a little
true.
issue there. A little issue there, Andrea. I consider you family, not friends. Okay, so this is
Oh,
a
thank you.
so that's the little thing that I mean, like I said, these are maybe a smaller circle that way, but consider them family is how I look at it, and then
Mhm.
we keep getting people into that. So great. So this is a good thing that's come out from it. And Mandy has been saying this for quite some time. She wants to, of course, maybe from there, Mandy, that whole thing that you want to create, that healing space, we can also start looking at that. And Zach and Thos, the resolution and healing center is what she wants to create.
Wow.
She's really, I mean, look, when you have good thoughts, good things will
Yeah,
come
I
out of
feel
that.
most that instead of resolving disputes, I feel like we cure disputes. I believe it's kind of therapy of pains and things. So that's kind of what Vikram just said. But I wanted to say also that this is, Vikram says many times that online connection is a real connection, a spiritual and mental and heart connection. And that's true. I feel strongly connected with Vikram and the friends and you, Andrea, that we have met only twice, 3 times, and I feel real friendship. That's so nice.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's mutual.
Yeah.
That's mutual.
Yeah.
So I think that's the positive energy that we create, and then how that goes out. Let's see how.
Yeah, it's a family, as you said, Vikram. It is a kind of family. What you create, it's much more than just a mediation circle. It's a very huge family.
Yes.
That is the idea. That has been the idea, that I mean, everyone treats each other as part of family also, and just connect in that way. So I think good things will come out of that. So thank you very much. And,
Oh, thank you,
and of
Vikram.
course, what I mean, events coming up. There are of course events coming up tomorrow. Bernie Mayer's episode of Evolution of a Mediator, that is tomorrow, part 4 of that. That conversation has taken I don't know how much time. We haven't first 2 episodes we were just talking about his parents and his grandparents. Third episode kind of started talking about him. So that's continuing. So that happens tomorrow. And then we have a lot of talking books sessions are coming up. There's one in what is that, the Star Trek and mediation or conflict resolution. There's a book on that.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I have to put out those posts now. I haven't done that. So that's coming up. And then that book that Sarah has put together, we have one with the authors of that. Then Yoncha has put something up on commercial mediation and in the digital era. So that's coming up. I think books seems to be, for a person who doesn't read books, I think that's a lot of books coming up. But please suggest, and let's come up. Maybe something more creative can come up or come out of it. Whatever discussions, please let me know. And of course, like always, final words. Of course, Andrea gets the final word. Mandy, what are your any closing remarks? Anything that you would want to put out to the world in terms of your, obviously you always have a good message to give out. So please. Yes, Mandy.
I wish and I hope and will support with all my power this beautiful idea of this universal friendship and the mediational sea to become an ocean.
Perfect. Andrea, anything?
Yeah, Mandy puts it so beautiful. I feel under pressure, Mandy. I suppose for me is that we don't give up trying to form connections. You know, that's what we keep doing. That we keep tapping into that energy. I actually watched refugees being interviewed the other day, and it was on this it's like a talk I went to. It was in person, and one of them had said, we're just waiting on the light to get in while they were waiting in these camps. And I think so many people who find themselves in disputes or in conflict, or, you know, in any type of situation like that, they're just waiting on the light. And I think in the skill sets that we have and the mindsets that we have, is actually we have the power to maybe, you know, even shine a torch in their direction so that they can find the way to the light, you know, just to kind of get that. And I think it's something that we have to use, and we have to promote, and we have to put it out there, because we have a responsibility for it. And I think, Vikram, you help us do that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And whatever the show goes on, and please participate, and I'll put out the schedule, and let's just get more people. The mediation circles is going to be my focus area. You will hear me say that a lot, but that's what is going to happen. And you like it or not, you have to work with me to set them up, create them, various I mean, of course, country wise, yes, issue wise. I was talking about a family mediation circle, and we have definitely, you have to create that, because someone in the last session was talking about how these conversations that they want to have with other mediators on specialized areas. So a family mediation circle for people, like-minded people who want to talk about that, get together on that. And finally, everything is not going to happen where I'm participating. All these circles will have their conversations, but whether they're recorded, whether they're live, we'll see that. Andrea's channel will have that going somewhere, and Mandy's channel will have something happening there. So there should be things happening all the time around the world in various on various channels. People should be able to watch so many events and shows all the time. That's when the multiplier effect will happen. So let's see how it goes. So thank you very much, both of you. Wonderful people, positive energy, good energy that you bring is amazing. Oh, that's been really nice. Obviously having those conversations. So let that continue. So I'll see you then soon.
Thank you, Vikram. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. We forgot the baby.
Yeah, the baby.
Are you the baby, Vikram?
Look, Andrea knows this, and I've always said that
you are reborn.
But my little child is always going to be there. We've spoken about that with Michael Lang also. I keep saying that that little child is going to ask those childish questions. You like it or you don't like it, but that child is going to stay, and the YouTube child is also going to stay. They're all going to live together. You have to bear them whatever way. So